In this lesson, we will discuss the concept of elasticity. This may be elasticity of demand or elasticity of supply. Business managers, governments, economists, they want to know that how much quantity demanded will change with the change in price, or how much quantity supplied will change. So before we answer these questions, let us define the term elasticity. Elasticity is the degree of responsiveness of dependent variable to a change in the independent variable. So elasticity is the degree of responsiveness of dependent variable to a change in the independent variable. Suppose we have a mathematical function y is the function of x. This is the way to write the relationship between two variables. Variables are those magnitudes which varies, which change. For example, this y, it can be quantity demanded and x can be prices. So here y is known as dependent variable and x independent variable. So value of dependent variable depends on the value of independent variable, or change in independent variable will affect or bring the change in dependent variable. For change, normally we use the symbol delta, like delta. So we can say delta y. This is called change in y. And delta x, this is called change in x. So if there is any change in y variable, that is due to the change in independent variable. Or take it other way, that if there is any change in independent variable x, it will bring the change in dependent variable y. Suppose there is 10% change in the value of x variable, and due to this 10% change in x, we assume that there is 10% change in y variable, or there may be more than 10% change, suppose 20% change in y variable, or it may be less than 10% change. So we have three types of responses. There is only one change in x variable, which is 10%, But due to this change, there are three possibilities that y variable may change less than 10%, or it may be equal to 10%, or it may be greater than 10%. So if we want to compare these two changes in mathematics, we use the tool called division or ratio. So we take the ratio. Let's say the first one is 5% change divided by 10% change. So change in y variable is due to change in x variable. So change in y variable is 5% and change in x variable is 10%. And this is equal to 0.5. And we call it, this is less than 1. If we take the second case, which is 10% change in y variable divided by 10% change in x variable, and this is equal to 1. And in third case, let me take it here. So we have 20% change in y variable and 10% change in x variable, and the answer is 2, and this is 2 is greater than 1. So we have 3 degrees or 3 responses of y variable due to single change in x variable. Whether it is greater than 1, or it is less than 1, or it is equal to 1. These are called degree of elasticity. So elasticity is the degree of responsiveness of dependent variable to a change in the independent variable. In economics, we normally discuss elasticity of demand, and elasticity of supply. And in both cases, these two elasticities are depending on the factors which determine demand and factors which determine supply. For example, the factors of demand can be, the demand is a function of price of the commodity. If it is X commodity, then price of X commodity. Prices of the related commodities mean other than other commodities. Income of the consumer, and taste and preference of the consumer, and there are many other factors that we can bring into the discussion. So these are called factors or independent variables, and this is called dependent variable, quantity demanded. So if there is any change in price of X commodity, there will be resultant change in quantity demanded. So this resultant change, how much it would be, that we can discuss in the concept of elasticity of demand. So that's all in this lesson. Thank you very much.